Einstein's Blunder. In the first chapter of the Relativity, Einstein makes a blunder in conception. It's hard to see that it would have been on purpose, though maybe he was blinded by ideology. But he makes a model out of a train driving along a train track over a train embankment, and the train is moving along the track, and there's somebody in the train, and the train's traveling, I guess, slowly, I think, maybe even 3 or 4 miles an hour or something like that. And there's somebody standing along the embankment looking at the train, and there's somebody in the train holding a stone, say a child, and the child drops it out the window and watches it go along as he notices, well, let's get back to the child. And then so the man drops it out, and then the man dropping it looks at it, and what does he notice? Well, relative to the train, the object is falling straight down. It's following along if there was a line in the siding of the train, it would just simply follow that line straight down from the view of the train. And then you've got the man on the embankment, and he's watching, but to him it describes a parabolic arc. And so it's slowly picking up speed as it's falling. And so it describes the standard parabolic arc of the gravitational, or the Earth intention, as I call it. And so he says it's all, what is the motion of the object? Well, it's totally relative. It's based on the observer. Well, this is what is a fundamental error in ontology. He surrenders to the point of observation without addressing the issue of causation. Because when the child is looking out the window and dropping the thing, it's looking at the whole scene, and it's concentrating on the fact that, yes, next to the train, the object is still, as it were. It's moving in context with the train. But in relation to the Earth, it's not. But it's also picking up speed as it's dropping. So the point of view from the train is not so simple as, oh, it does this movement in congruence with the train. But the other thing that's fundamentally problematic about Einstein's assumption of radical relativity, and that motion is subordinate to observations, rather than that motions are things in themselves. And so the primary issue here is, why is the rock falling? Well, it's falling because it's being drawn to where? The Earth. What is the constant of the Earth? Well, that's the train embankment, or the constant condition, the constant remote condition, the train embankment, right? So the rock is falling towards the center of Earth. And that's the motor of the thing. That's the real relationship. The fact that the rock is traveling along with the train is, from the moment it is dropped, is an accident of its past. It is no longer a current condition other than the memory of that condition. But it's no longer being sustained, such that if it hits something else, or it hits something, or because of wind resistance or such, it is only accidentally in the condition of lateral motion. At that point, it's not its necessary condition, whereas falling is the necessary condition. It's unstoppable. Even if it's stopped, it's still there and present in the form of weight. So he fundamentally fails to see the inertial context in which or fails to address it and says that no, the observations are relative, and then goes on to create a whole system of relativity that is fallacious because it's founded on this point. In a book I've written called Relativity Revisited is a kind of reverie in relativity, which establishes clearly that in order for there to be relativity, space and time must be absolute and even and constant. That relativity is only possible in a Newtonian space. Newton was definitely, I believe, right about this postulation, though I think he was, and certainly the tradition that followed him was very wrong about the gravitational tradition is wrong. Anyway, other books that I've written, which will probably be linked here somewhere. The Relativity Revisited, the Restoration, which is kind of a long ramble about several topics, but one of the principal things that it does is a critique of the Newtonian mathematics, and also postulates a more simple understanding of the effect that is called gravity, which in the book is called Earth intention, because it is it's really just an observational description of the effect that we know, that organizing principle that holds all things together and pulls them to the center of the earth. Through the process of my work, I determined that by observation of it in the material observations that we make, we can understand that it is most simply and clearly understood as a metaphysical force, gravity, and also I would believe other forces, other energies that we see in scientific research behind the existence of things, which is what is no doubt the bafflement of our current atheistic science. And then they are so proud to understand, to be able to understand that what they are is blind to the reality of being, which is that it is metaphysical, substantially so and intelligently so. It is a rational, creative will that is behind being, not just, pop-up mathematics or something. It's ridiculous. It was long ago disproved, and yet we find ourselves subject to it, and it is the cause of our current state of apostasy. Well, at least it is a principal cause of the current state of our apostasy. Well, this is Teleologic Jones signing out. Thank you for listening to the end. This little sketch here is something that's been crossing my mind for the last few days. I feel I need to write about it, but the book was really a response to this discovery that I've now laid out here, which I actually don't lay out in the book because I wanted to leave a full critique of Einstein's book on relativity to a consideration unto itself. But it seems, I just was recently listening to some video, I can't remember the source, but he repeated this, and I thought, oh, okay, this is actually how this is taken. He repeated not only the example of the train and the embankment and such, but he failed to acknowledge any difference. He just assumed the perceptual relativity was absolute, that each location of observation is equal to each other location of observation, and there is no kind of means of assessing them by hierarchical means. And that's just not the case. Like, there's only one reason that rock is falling, and that's because of the gravitational pull of the earth. There's only one reason the train is moving along the tracks. It's because of the gravitational formation of the earth, allowing for the train track to be formed, and the motion along the track is, a lateral force, but held in place by the vertical force. That is, there's not only one reason. Gravity is not the cause of the motion of the train along the track, but it is the cause of the context in which that whole event can take place. So it is actually prior to the motion of the train in manifold ways. So and substantially, it is the substantive force, organizing force of our sphere, Earth. So I hope you enjoyed this. Anyone who's listened through, there'll be links to the books, and I hope to talk to you again sometime soon. Teleologic Jones out.